Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the brawlers that have fell off massively within the meta right now. So yesterday's video, we looked at the brawlers that start to rise to the top, especially since the World Finals. But a lot of these brawlers are definitely going to surprise you guys. They surprised me when I had a look at the data. So before we jump into the video then, make sure you're using the create code in the shop. That'd be greatly appreciated. And of course, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my streams. We're doing some good pushing. I think yesterday I won like 12 games in a row on stream on Power League, so make sure to check those out, normally around 5 PM GMT. But without further ado, let's jump into it. Right, guys, jumping into the first brawler, which I think has probably fell off the most out of every single brawler in the game right now, we have Crow. So Crow, I still feel he's pretty decent when you play ladder. Like, he doesn't feel weak, but when it comes down to the pros, they all agree that there's just a better option out there. The stats definitely back it up as well. So Crow was only, I believe, drafted 4 times, and he wasn't banned at all. So just going to show how much he fell off, because when you compare the stats to previous competitive seasons, every single month Crow was in the top 5 in terms of ban rate, play rate. But of course, being picked literally a total of 4 times, you compare this to other brawlers like Charlie, for example, or even Cordelius, they were picked or banned like above 50 times. Of course, Charlie, she was banned 80 times in total, but just going to show 4 times in World Finals. I remember one of them as well was when I think it's Crazy Raccoon, they picked Crow on pinhole punt into like a Rosa and something else quite aggressive, and they just ran all over the Crow. It must be because Crow just doesn't have the DPS. Of course, you got to remember as well that he used to have 5 seconds slow, and now it's 2 seconds. The slow nerfs are a little bit too harsh, but it is nice at the same time that it's not a gadget dependent brawler. I feel like as well, people might be sleeping on the carrying Crow build. Of course, if he's lacking the DPS, then why not switch over to the carrying Crow star power, because then you're able to deal that extra bit of damage, and of course the mythic gear as well. But again, he was used 4 times and he only had a 25% win rate. So Crow no longer is this just go-to brawler anymore. You know, typically you could always use him on Brawl Ball, Gem Grab in particular. You could use him in Hot Zone as well. But it's a shame, because at the same time I do enjoy playing Crow, but I definitely won't be missing the slow and toxic meta. It was one of the most toxic gadgets of all time, but it's at least showing right that the nerfs have finally done something to him, and he no longer is just broken insane brawler, which I thought would never ever be towards like the C tier, which he probably is in right now. So for me, he has fell off the most out of every single brawler in the game. Let's hop into the next one. Alright guys, jumping into the next brawler, which I think has fell off the most inside of Brawl Stars, it is Ash. So Ash used to always be this underrated brawler where in the pro scene he used to be very, very strong, especially in the right hands. But now he's just terrible. He wasn't drafted at all within World Finals last weekend. Just going to show, even as a last pick, he just isn't that brawler anymore. Of course, there's a few reasons for this. I think the main one is because of those tank counters, getting those hypercharges. It just makes it so hard for Ash to really do anything to them. Also as well, the brawlers that he used to counter pretty well, like those sharpshooters, you know, Piper, Nanny, they recently got buffs, so even his tankiness can't really do anything against those. And of course, this brawler right here, Charlie, who we're facing, like one of the best brawlers of all time. Just what can I even do into that? Like, are you actually stupid? Like, what? How can someone just delete me like that and have so much range? I mean, Ash just can't do anything. Poor Ash. Also, yeah, he's been falling off recently. Also, take a look at some of the meta tanks as well. Rosa, Buster, they somewhat counter him as well. I mean, Buster and Ash have like a, I would say 50-50 matchup probably, but still a good Buster player can definitely just abuse Ash if needed. Also as well, trying to think top of my head, but I'm also trying to concentrate. You know, brawlers like Lou are just going to absolutely destroy Ash as well. Let's see if we can stop this Charlie right here. Nice, we can actually get the kill. I mean, if there's no Charlie and if there's no hypercharged brawlers in the game, he can still do something. But then again, I'd rather just go another option, which is a lot safer, especially against all of these hypercharged brawlers. So we're able to take down a Fang there. I mean, once damage gear is popped, we can do some absurd damage, but again, more often than not, there is just a Charlie on the other end, just ready to put you in the cocoon. And somehow we didn't actually score that. So again, trying to have a look at some of the other brawlers in the meta that somewhat counter. You've also got like Colette as well. You've got Shelly, you've got Spike. There's just so many hypercharged tanks and tank counters out there. Poor Ash just doesn't stand a chance. And like an idiot, I just ran into Fang after just staring at my phone. But for me, I don't know. I just think Ash eventually, once he gets his hypercharge, he'll just naturally go back up into the meta. But He still needs a little bit of love. Maybe just give him a little bit of extra HP for now, just so he can at least somewhat compete with all of these brawlers, like Maisie as well. She's just rose to the top. And poor Ash just can't do anything because he's just constantly getting stun locked by her. But BB should be able to cancel out him. Our teammate lags in the most unfortunate position. But yeah, that's going to be it. I'm just fed up of playing Ash. It's just impossible to win with him at the moment. Let's hop into the next one. Guys, jumping into the next brawler, which I think has completely fell off within the meta. It is Fang. So Fang, we were talking about, what, 2-3 months ago, how he was one of the best brawlers in the game. Definitely a top 5 brawler within the competitive scene and just overall on ladder. But right now, he has completely fell off. Like, completely. That super was terrible, by the way. And somehow the Maze is able to score. I have no idea how. But anyways, Fang, he was played once and banned once in the whole of the World Finals. So, you know, in comparison, I think I put him as like the 3rd best brawler in my tier list. Not the last one, but the other one. So 2 tier lists ago, he was considered one of the best by me. And now he's just nowhere, literally nowhere to be seen. So I think there's a few reasons for this. I think the damage nerf probably did a lot more than we realized. You know, the smallest of damage buffs and nerfs to Fang can really do a lot. But of course, I just think it's to do with a super. Like with Fang's super, you know, pros don't really group up a lot. And that's the best way that he was being utilized in previous metas. His fresh kickstart power was just so strong, and you could just cycle it like crazy. Maybe pros are just better, found a way of countering it a little bit easier, but it just doesn't hit the same anymore. Like before, you could just brainlessly go Fang pretty much anywhere and just carry. We can't really do that in our meta, so hopefully me and my teammates can defend this one. Nice. I did pass the ball there to Maisie, but we're able to get the kill there. I mean, he is still a decent brawler. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't think he's like one of the worst brawlers in the game. It's just still quite alarming reading those stats. You know, considering how strong he was, I thought he'd be a lot more up the list. But to see him being played once out of every single brawler in the game, I mean, maybe as well Fang is a little bit of a high risk, high reward brawler. I think as well, again, just take a look at the top brawlers in the game. Pretty much all of them hard counter him or just beat him in a 1v1 quite frequently. You know, you look at brawlers again like Maisie, even Sandy. All of these brawlers have stuns or some ways to delete Fang if he supers on top of them. Look at Charlie, just deletes Fang. Look at Cordelius, he's able to put Fang in the Shadow Realm. Rosa as well, she wins the 1v1 pretty much every single time. There's just hardly any ways to get value out of Fang's super in this current meta. But this should be a goal here, considering Maisie has super. What on earth? Okay, we can just walk this in anyways. But yeah, again, Lou, another brawler, just cancels out the Fang. Buster can do really well. Literally all the top brawlers outside of like 8-bit can just destroy Fang in a 1v1. Maisie has hypercharge here. It's going to be pretty dangerous, and somehow we're able to defend this. Again, hopefully Maisie, nice. And we can just use another super here. And we somehow defend that one. So this should be a goal. I'm just going to pass this up to myself. Super up. And that just should be an easy goal. So yeah, Fang, I think maybe he's a little bit underrated by the pros, but he definitely has fell off so incredibly much just by play rate alone. Played once, he needs probably a little bit more love or just a hypercharge or something. Let's hop into the next one. Alright guys, jumping into the next brawler who has completely fell off within the meta right now. I think we kind of discussed this last meta as well. But it is still Surge. So Surge just kind of is brawler that people still respect when it comes down to ladder. But when it is in the pro games, it's near enough impossible to get Surge leveled up because people can just keep their distance and bully a Surge specifically when he's at that first level. It's just so hard to get your first super. And that's why he's just never used. He was literally used 0 times in recent competitive events. So even as like a last pick brawler, you know, typically Surge would be pretty good as a last pick, especially countering tanks, but he just doesn't have the DPS anymore. He hasn't got his brain dead gadget where he can just press it and get all of his ammo, and also shield and attack as well. Like that was so strong. Of course he hasn't got that about him, and again there's just so many brawlers that can push him back, just delete him because he's so squishy. It's just not his type of meta. So hopefully we can score here. If not, we can at least get a little bit of value. Oh, come on, these guys are so weak. Nice, we were able to score that one. But yeah, he just doesn't serve a purpose right now. So now it begs the question, how would you buff Surge? Because of course, you don't want to just give him a broken gadget again, because that kind of meta is boring with Surge. Like, there's been every single meta that Surge has been strong, he's just had a broken gadget, right? We've had Power Shield, We've had Power Surge that's had a meta in the past that gave you like 2 levels before. We've of course had Teleport gadget with Surge in I was gonna say beta, but when he was first released, just everything about Surge normally has to do with his gadget, why he's so strong. So hopefully, I mean, I think his gadget's in a good spot right now. They need to just give him love in a different way. I'm not too sure how they do it. Maybe they just remove the first stage with Surge. I don't know. I kind of found that really fun leveling up a few times though. But I just think he's just too easy to take down, especially in that first level. They just need to do something about it. Like, I don't know how they can balance him, of course, but they don't want to buff him too much because Surge is one of the most loved brawlers in the game. But they need to not make it so it's brain dead like before. Like before, you could just run into tanks, for example, pop your gadget, and you could tank like their big shot or like a B big shot or something, and then get all of your ammo back. It was just absurd, the amount of auto aim spam. So again, going into overtime here, I was hoping to try and get some levels from the ball here. He's going to charge straight onto the Amber, but I'm just going to go after him and try and get this 3rd level. Nice. Okay, Nanny clipping me like crazy, but I'm just going to look to heal up here. Going to get my 3rd level here and cycle onto my next one, which can use the split, and that's going to be really good, especially since these guys are grouping up like crazy, and we're just going to break these Surge's ankles. So that's the 4th brawler that has completely fell off right now. Let's jump into the last one. Alright guys, jumping into the final brawler, which for me has completely fell off. Again, you might be surprised by this one, but it is Carl. So again, when you look at the ban and play rates, he was banned 3 times and only played 2 times. He actually had a 0% win rate as well, which is just insane to me. So of course, I think there is a few reasons for this. Again, he's another brawler that heavily relies on countering the squishier brawlers, but right now at the top of the meta, there's literally this guy who we're facing on the enemy team, Buster, who completely hard counters Carl, because literally whenever you want to super onto Buster, more than likely he's going to have that pull gadget that can stop you out of a super, and then he has 4 of those. So many brawlers now have 4 gadgets which can interrupt Carl's super, which is just so annoying. And look, again, it's just impossible to take him down. And again, you take a look at the top brawlers. Charlie, she can just super you straight away and get you out of that super. Cordelius, he can counter Carl as well. Just all of the top brawlers have some type of gadget or super that can interrupt him, and it's just pretty annoying for me. I hope he gets maybe a small buff or again a hypercharge. It's just pretty hard to balance brawlers right now because some of the worst brawlers in the game could get a hypercharge and it could make them the best. You take Lou, for example. He literally, and Maisie, they were some of the worst brawlers in the game. They got a hypercharge and they're all the way into the top 10. So I think the biggest imbalance for me is just all of these brawlers not having a hypercharge available. I think maybe once we see what hypercharges they get, then we can maybe look to balance some of these brawlers. But he does have the pop-off potential. I think in the right matchup, he can be very strong. And, you know, you still can't underestimate a Carl, especially as a last pick. But still, I think just in the average ladder game, he's just too easy to counter. So that was a pretty bad play there. I felt like I should have got my super off a lot quicker. Just pretty annoying there. But again, he's still pretty solid when it goes down to like maybe, I think Bounty is probably his best game mode, or maybe Brawl, where you're able to make those plays with flying hooks still. But there's just so many brawlers, and even brawlers like Sandy who have risen to the top. When Sandy has 3-4 stuns, like it's just so annoying to try and get value in the game. You think of Lou as well. Lou can just freeze lock you the entire game. So many cancellations. Poor Cole just doesn't even stand a chance. So 15 seconds left. Let's see if we can close out this game. At least Buster has no more supers to hand here. I'm going to get deleted by the spike though. I don't know. I like Cole metas. They're pretty balanced overall. I just think hypercharges are just breaking the game's meta. You can just see how things are just flipping on his head with the introduction of Lou and Maisie at the top. You know, some brawlers that were always at the top, like Cole, for example, like Crow, have just gone straight down the meta. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I think I just got all 5 thumbs up, which you love to absolutely see. Let me know down in the comment section below what videos you want to see in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.